Will your printer cook you dinner in the future? Could ordinary sand be the key to sustainable renewable energy? Recent technological developments could shape our very lives in the not-so-distant future. Meat alternatives have become more popular in the past few years, with proponents often claiming these alternatives are healthier for the consumer and better for the environment. One of the most common criticisms leveled at meat substitutes is that they don't quite match up in texture, flavor, or both. However, several startups claim to have made 3D printed meat that's more realistic than ever. Israeli company Redefine Meat uses a mix of soy and pea proteins, along with other vegetable-derived ingredients, to print its steaks. In October 2022, the brand announced a distribution partnership with a major meat importer to bring the product to shops all over Europe and launched a new printing factory in the Netherlands. Another Israeli startup, Stakeholder Foods, unveiled beef grown from bovine stem cells in lab conditions. Once grown, Stakeholder can use the fat and muscle tissue to print a steak in any configuration, allowing buyers to choose the exact fat percentage and marbling pattern desired. Nanotechnology is used in many different fields, from medicine to manufacturing, but one of the most unexpected developments for nanotech comes from the world of fashion. Using nanofiber or nanoparticle coatings, several companies have been developing ways to improve the properties of clothing fabric without compromising on the feel and appearance to the wearer. These improvements include coatings that feature hydrophobic molecules, which are capable of repelling all manner of liquids, including potentially wine, coffee, and mustard. This could make it easier to make waterproof and stain-resistant clothing, so accident-prone wearers would no longer have to worry about embarrassing stains on their shirts or trousers. Nano coatings have also been shown to have antimicrobial properties, which can help stop the growth of bacteria. This could help wearers feel cleaner and smell fresher for longer, and has the potential for use in a clinical setting too. Artificial intelligence is being used in many ways across the healthcare industry, with the general aim of making access to healthcare easier and more comprehensive than ever. IBM's Watson Health uses machine learning to absorb vast amounts of information from patient records, case studies, and medical journals. This data is then processed to give researchers insights into trends or patterns that wouldn't have been possible to achieve with human analysis alone. The technology has been compared to having a doctor who has not only read every single study, journal, and medical database available, but can also use it for complex diagnoses or finding improvements in current medical practice. Sifting through vast amounts of data to find patterns is one of the key limitations of traditional medical science, but with the power of AI, medical research of this nature is potentially a lot easier than before. Anyone who's been in the market for a new car in the past few years is aware that the electric vehicle revolution is underway. Most manufacturers now offer at least one electric model in their lineup. Current batteries are heavy and bulky and require more time to refuel than a gas-powered car. However, research is currently ongoing to optimize the design of EV batteries so that almost every part of the pack is made of active material that can hold a charge. The placement of the batteries within the car is also a key focus for researchers, with more efficient battery placement leading to potentially significant real-world range gains. Researchers at Pennsylvania State University also claimed they have developed a way to fast charge a car battery in just 10 minutes. This new battery also uses cheaper rare earth elements that can help bring the cost of EVs down to be more in line with their gas-powered counterparts. For now, the tech is only in the prototype stage, but the team is reportedly working on a way to bring their design to production in the near future. Quantum computers use the power of quantum bits, or qubits, to work significantly faster than a traditional computer can, enabling them to solve highly complex problems at record speeds. While building a quantum computer is no longer in the realm of science fiction, researchers have been unable, until recently, to chain quantum bits together in any meaningful way. However, in February 2022, a team at Caltech published a case study where they used quantum bits made from an ion of ytterbium, a rare earth element, to create a prototype quantum network.
Do you guys just put the word quantum in front of everything?
The technology is still in its early stages, but the research team's vision is to create a quantum internet that can match the speeds of quantum computers. This enables machines to be chained together, increasing their computing power. The Caltech study also suggests the tech could one day be used to create unbreakably secure communications using quantum cryptography. However, it's unlikely to be developed into anything viable outside of lab conditions in the foreseeable future. Reducing global reliance on fossil fuels is one of the biggest steps to address climate change. One of the biggest issues in switching to renewable power is that it tends to be inconsistent. For example, solar panels can only generate electricity when the sun is out, which makes them less effective during winter in many parts of the world. A group of Finnish engineers recently proposed a solution, a sand battery that stores heat effectively for long periods of time. Using green energy bought from the grid when supply is high, a resistance heater heats the sand to over 600 degrees Celsius, which can remain at that temperature for months. The battery uses low-quality sand rejected by construction suppliers and a fan to direct hot air to district heating pipes. The company behind the technology, Polar Night Energy, claims an 8-megawatt battery made of sand costs $200,000, while an equivalent lithium-ion battery would cost $1,600,000. At the moment, the battery is most useful for storing heat over long periods, so its usefulness is limited to places where a district heating system is already in place. However, the company is also working on a way to convert that stored heat back into electricity to power the grid. Spinal cord injuries can damage the vital nerves that control the lower half of the body, often resulting in paralysis. In Switzerland, 3 people who had been paralyzed from such injuries were able to walk independently again, thanks to a breakthrough new technology developed by a team of neuroscientists. The researchers implanted electrodes that mimic electrical signals the brain sends to body parts. These implants are connected to AI software, which reproduces the signals that subjects need to stand and walk. Patients were initially only able to walk with the use of a harness. However, after a few months of training, one patient was able to walk independently and stand drinking at a bar. Although the initial trial was successful, the technology is only in its early stages, and the researchers are planning to conduct more clinical trials through 2023. If these trials are successful, the team plans to make the tech commercially available in a few years. After losing her nose to cancer and undergoing several failed nasal reconstruction surgeries, a French woman became the first person to grow a new nose on her arm. The pioneering operation saw a 3D printed nose structure implanted onto the patient's forearm, which then grew skin and was transplanted onto her face. 3D printing industry reports that the structure to grow the new nose was made by bone graft specialist Serum, using a biocompatible bioceramic in which the porosity of the structure can be adjusted. This allowed the team to develop a 3D printed structure that was as similar as possible to the patient's missing nose shape and structure. This gave it the best chance of being accepted by the body. The transplant patient is reportedly doing very well, although she did have to undergo hospitalization and a course of antibiotics after the procedure. The successful operation paves the way for more bioprinted body parts to be made in the future. The idea of flying cars has been around for a while now, so it's natural to treat any developments in the segment with a healthy dose of skepticism. But Chinese carmaker XPeng recently showed off its first flying car at an event in Dubai and aims to put it into production within a few years.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Called the X2, the car is made of carbon fiber to keep its weight to a minimum and can carry 2 passengers up to 21 miles on one charge. The X2 is equipped with AI that can drive itself between destinations, so no user input is required. A senior official at the UAE's Civil Aviation Authority claimed the country is ready to adopt this new mode of transport, with initial consultations underway to add launch pads to the latest luxury developments in anticipation of XPeng's car reaching production. He stressed, however, that this was conditional upon the success of the certification, with safety concerns needing to be addressed before the flying cars will be authorized for public use. If all goes well, he claimed that the first commercial vehicles might be launched as soon as 2025.
What the hell was that? Taxi cab.
Nuclear fusion could potentially offer an unlimited source of energy, and research has been ongoing since the 1950s to develop it. Although it's still a long way from being commercially viable, the Washington Post recently reported that scientists recorded a reaction that produced more energy than it required, albeit in strictly controlled lab conditions. Study results aren't public at this time, so the details surrounding the breakthrough are still unclear. If this research could be replicated at a large scale, it could be the key to solving the energy crisis affecting billions around the world. At present, however, billions of dollars of specially developed equipment are needed to create a single reaction. In addition, the stresses produced during that reaction were so high, there was reportedly a serious risk of the equipment being destroyed altogether. It seems the days of readily available nuclear fusion energy are still a long way away, but with continued backing, it's possible fusion power plants could one day become a reality.